exceed their expectations.
But when you show up with just a coffee without asking, here's a coffee. Something so small, just little gestures go so far. So. Hey guys, I'm Pernell, this is Devin, we are Seven Tree Media, and on this episode, we're talking how to manage your relationships.
Yeah, so this is part 4 now of the series of helping you with your sales process. And what our aim is to help you kind of outline a system so that you can create processes, put people on your team in the right places in that process, and really drive home sales inside of your business structure so that you can foster room for growth, scale up, and help more people with whatever it is that you're helping people with. So at the top of everything, just kind of like as a bird's eye view, I like to put things into buckets. So in the sales process, there's 3 kinds of buckets. The first bucket is your cold relationships, people you don't really know, people you haven't met, or you don't.
Acquaintances, pretty much, like people that you may have been introduced to, met once or twice. Things like that, right? That you're not really familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have a warm bucket where these are people that you've had conversations with. You know them a little bit deeper. You've built some level of rapport. And then the final one is the hot bucket. This one's right on the fire. This is people that are interested, have purchased, want to purchase again. You've kind of you spent more time with these people.
Yeah, people that know what you're all about, what you can do for them, how they can help you, and you can help them. Guys that are willing to go forward 100%.
Yeah. So now if you take those 3 buckets and you look at your existing network of people, whether they're in your business or outside of your business, personal relationships or otherwise, you can put somebody in one of those buckets at some point in time in your relationship, right? So I guess step 1 in helping you identify your whole process is looking at your network and starting to fill up your buckets with the people that are inside of that network.
Yeah. And how do we manage those relationships? How do we get somebody from being in the cold bucket into the medium, then into the purchaser or the buyer? You know, and it's one of those things that I think this really stops most salespeople from achieving what they really want to achieve, because I don't know how to go from meeting somebody to closing, right? And again, we already discussed closing on one of the previous episodes. We don't like that term. You know, we like working with or, managing.
The word that I think we shifted it from the ABC model, always be closing. Closing is not the right word to put there.
It's not.
Communicating is the right word to put there.
True, right? And and again, it goes back to communication again, so that's a great way to actually do it. If you have somebody in the cold bucket and you know that you can help them with your services, you know they need your help, they know they need your help, but you don't know how to connect it into the next phase. Really what you want to do is you want to nurture that relationship. What I like to do, and I mean, I get yelled at all the time. He yells at me all the time. I take clients out for dinners or for beers or wherever else. And it's to the point where he's like, are you just going out for beers? Are you just socializing? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Simply because, I'm going to go out. I'm going to spend my time. I'm going to spend my money to nourish and nurture these relationships. These are things, it all comes with trust.
Yeah.
Right. I keep saying this almost every episode we do. It all comes down to trust for me, right? Mm-hmm. If a client trusts you as a friend, as a confidant, they're going to trust you with their business endeavors if you show proficiency at it.
That's right.
Right. And especially with the way our model breaks down it's very not intrusive, but very inclusive.
Right.
There's so many custom things going on with everything we do that no package is the same.
Right.
Right. So to get their heads wrapped around everything we do is very difficult, and it takes that time. It takes the extra meetings and this and that, and not wearing them down over time, but getting them to know your process over time, right?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people tend to create this us versus them mentality in the sales world. Clients being them and your team being us.
Right.
And when you create that divide, it's very obvious in the interactions that you have, and so it shapes the way those relationships get nurtured.
There's this thing that if you're out and if you're taking clients out for drinks and you're just trying to sell, even if you try to come off as their friend,
it's obvious.
It's very obvious.
It stinks.
It's sleazy. It's one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
You cannot gain trust that way. You cannot gain rapport that way. Even though let's say you have a million things in common, if they think you're just trying to get their money, you're never going to do it, right?
And it boils down to your intention going into that conversation or going into
Right.
that engagement with that person.
Right.
Are you coming from the intention to sell, or are you coming from the intention to help?
Yeah, if you
And
could,
both of those painted very different
absolutely
on the other side.
If you go in with the intentions of, and again, I'll take it back to I think one of the first episodes. We never work with clients that we know we can't help, or that they don't fit our business model, or they don't fit with us personally. Simply because not only do we not want the headaches, because that's something you never want is a headache, but you also want to be able to have that trust. If I trust them to do what they're supposed to do on their end, they trust us to do what we're supposed to do on our end, and in there somewhere payment gets made.
Yeah.
The more familiar you are with somebody's business, the more obviously you can tell whether you can help them or not.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to go for the straight kill. You don't always have to go just for money, right? There's more to this than money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say that, and I don't think a lot of businesses actually like that we do will actually take that path, right? There's been many clients we've said, no, we're not going to work with you, or we can't work with you. We have nothing to offer you because it'll just be wasting your money. We tell clients the better solution would be to do this, or work with this company. Even though we offer a plethora of services,
Yeah.
there's some things that just don't fit into our wheelhouse.
Right.
So we're not going to take that on because we know we cannot deliver on those as well as somebody else could.
Right.
We're not about, just give us the extra $2,000 or $3,000 and we'll take care of it for you if we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
There's no point in doing that until we get our skills up and we want to focus on that. Then we'll focus on that and get our skills up before we can charge for it, right? And I think a lot of people and a lot of companies are actually just taking people's money and saying, we'll figure it out as we go. Yes, it's a great way to go if you've done something like that before. But if you haven't done anything like that and you have no skills towards it, why are you taking a $2,000 check just to screw this business over because you can't deliver on something you promised you could deliver on? That's not going to gain trust. It's not going to build rapport. It's not going to have them re-sign for another 5 years, 10 years. And you're not going to have a lifetime value of this client. You're just going to have that one hit and move on. And you're in that constant battle of new people in the new bucket, in the cold bucket, and nobody in the hot bucket.
Yeah, your cold bucket is so full, it's overflowing, and the people that it's overflowing with are the people that aren't getting anything from you. And so this boils down to building the trust through those communications by being honest and transparent in what it is that you can help with, coming from the place of good intent, intending to do well by the person that you're trying to help. And so to migrate people from each one of these buckets, the easiest, fastest, most effective way is A, to be patient, and B, to build value. So when we find a customer in that cold bucket and it turns out we can't help them, that doesn't mean we can never help them. It means we just can't help them right now. And so our communications with the intent of helping helped us discover that. As soon as we were able to discover that, we could put that into the space where is going to be most effective.
Right.
And it builds that trust with them, knowing that we're going to be honest regardless, and we are genuinely here to help. Now, I've had clients that I've met and haven't gotten any money or compensation for work for up to 12 months later, just because of how much value I needed to build with that customer first before they were able to flip out of any of the other spaces into my space.
And by the way, over that 12 months, we're taking people from the cold bucket and moving them into the lukewarm bucket, then into the hot bucket, simply by staying in communication with them all the time. Once a month or once a week, whatever you guys decide on calling them, having a little conversation is taking them out. Like I said, it does cost money to get the rapport needed to ask for the big asks, right? When we're asking for $10,000 or $20,000 a month, people are looking at us. By the time we get to that point, people are looking at us. Okay, where do I sign? How do I give you my money? It's to the point now where we don't even ask for the money. We say this is what it costs, and they say when can we get this to you? How soon do you need it? When can we get started?
Because of the value.
Because of the value that's there, right? The rapport you've built, the value you've shown you can deliver on. Right? It gets to a point where people are automatically just like, okay, let's do this. I'm 100% committed now. Where do I sign? How do I get you money? And from there, it's now you're not managing a client. You're managing a friend's business social profile with them. Right? So you almost feel you're part of the company.
And further to that, it's part of the customer acquisition cost. In our business, if we know a customer is worth $10,000, our customer acquisition cost can be anywhere from $1,000 to $9,000. And that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, to stay in business, all we need is the profit. And so when you go out on those little, dinner excursions or out for a beer with the boys, or you play a game of golf, yeah, sure, it costs money, but at the end of the day, the reason why you have that money to spend is because of your customers. And so if you're not making it obvious that you care about them by wanting to spend time with them or wanting to build value with them, it's obvious in what you're creating and how you're doing it. And you end up going back to, and I love using this term, you end up going back to the door-to-door salesman. Here's my script, knock on door, read script, hope for sale, leave if none. Like, this is such an old, outdated process. And that process has migrated into the online world and into digital media and into all the other avenues where we encounter people trying to find customers.
And why? Why does it do that? Why are we taking scripts because we know they work? How often? Are you going to are you selling it every single door? Or are you selling it 1 in 10 doors or 1 in 100 doors? Does the script really work that well for you? Because we have an 80% close rate.
Right.
80%. By building rapport. Yes, it takes a little longer. You're not going to get an automatic sale, but we don't want an automatic sale because we're in this for the long term. We're in this for lifetime value of the customer, right?
Yeah.
And what we can offer them, not how can I get a quick check to pay rent this month?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's where a lot of salespeople are at right now, is that I've got to make a quick sale so I can put food on the table, pay bills, pay rent, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the long-term effects of what kind of ripple effect that causes within the clients, right? The rift you have with your clients. Just doing that, right? Especially not having that open communication like we always have, having that transparency of saying, listen, we're not able to do that, or we're able to do this a little more. How about we focus our efforts on this a little more? And coming up with the campaigns, marketing campaigns that actually meet their needs.
Right.
Not something that it's easy to do, that worked with another company, but it might not work with this, but let's give it a try. Right? We put together something very custom for them. And over that, let's say the 12 months it takes to get into that hot bucket, we have a very detailed, specific marketing campaign already laid out, right? Over that 12 months, that when they finally say go, we can just press the button.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's where our value comes in mostly, right?
Well,
and a lot of people don't understand that.
This process works really well in all areas, right? A lot of what we do is a little bit higher ticket stuff. When you enter the production world, it's really hard to find a high quality production at a low rate. So when we step into the game with a high ticket item, it's so important that we work on building that value, making sure that we're nurturing our clients through each one of those buckets and managing those relationships in order to elevate and escalate. I love the term to ascend up the value ladder.
Yes, and another thing I realized that actually adds our value to the client is we always give them homework. Right. There's always homework for the clients to do.
Something tangible that they can take and use.
So let's say we're working with a company right now. I'm not going to say the name, but we're working with a company. We're doing a whole video series, podcast series to get into the marketing thing, or into, I guess, draw more people into this company. And we asked them, we said, listen, what we need from you is to get your guests together. We need you to get, a bunch of, we gave them a whole list of things to do, for set layout, all this fun stuff. And during that process, I received so many calls from them about, do we need this? Should we use this, this, and this? Yeah. They are trusting me to give them the best advice, which again adds rapport
because you've
onto
proven
the relationship. Yeah. Because even if they say, should I get this? I think that's not really worth it. We don't need that. We have that already. Whatever we're doing, it gains the trust of the people saying, okay, these guys are really looking out for me. Yeah. They came to us and said, well, I have $10,000. Should I get all this stuff? No, you don't need that. Yeah. Let me paint this wall. Let's put down a couple chairs. We're good. Save your money. Yeah. Right? They're not used to hearing that from people that want to advertise for them or market for them, right? Yeah. They're used to saying, no, let's spend all of that budget and then let's see what other kind of money you can get so we can spend that too. Yeah. Right? And I think that's one of the main drawbacks, one of the main flaws that people keep doing. And it makes people trust you less. If businesses want to make money, they want to save money. They don't want to go out and spend it. Even if they have a budget for it, they want to save as much as that as possible. Yeah. Maybe it's going back into that salesperson's pocket, or maybe it's going back into the owner's pocket. Maybe it's being distributed. Who knows? That money could be used elsewhere if not needed with us. Right? And we are very, like I said, because we're very upfront with people and very upfront with our clients, it gains that trust. It's almost like you're holding hands. Yeah. Right?
You're nurturing. And I love that term because when you first meet somebody and you know that you can help them with this, but they're not in the space to do that yet, whether it's not in the budget, they don't have the team for it, they don't have whatever.
Time, money, whatever, experience, whatever it is. Yeah.
So in order to bring that person up to this level where you can finally help them, it starts with something small. And we have lots of, we'll call them lead magnets for, lack of better terms, but something that's like, here's what a customer experience map looks like. Here's how to map out when you first meet a customer to when they're actually down here in the higher value stuff. And then you can see the process of what they have to go through to get to that level. So I'll give that to the customer and let them kind of work that out for their sales process. Now they're one step closer to being like, okay, let's fill the top of this funnel with an abundance of leads.
Right.
And that's what we're really good at. So taking them from this place to this place is part of that value adding service. So that's what we mean by bringing and delivering value. Now this works at any level. And let's use McDonald's as an example.
Okay.
We'll start with the top of their, the bottom of their value ladder is going to be a free coffee.
Sure.
So let's say you've never heard about McDonald's before, which, I'm sure everybody in the world has.
Who hasn't heard of
right.
McDonald's?
So they give you that free coffee, but once you're in there and you have that free coffee, likelihood has increased that you may or may not be hungry. And guess what? They have a solution to provide you with that. So if you want breakfast, they have something small. We can throw in a hash brown. We can throw in an egg McMuffin. We can throw in, and as it continues to ascend, now that the value there becomes more and more because of the products that they have to offer, the different values, right?
Quick little case study. A&W was giving away free coffees for anybody that walked in the door, asked for free coffee, they would get a free coffee. Talking to the owner of those A&Ws, he told me that the average bill on that free coffee is still $4.
Right.
Right? One free coffee that takes literally pennies to make is making you $4. Things like that people don't really see. Advertisers will know about it, but know all about it. Business owners will know all about it, but they don't know the exact extent they can go to. Especially when we're working with dispensaries, things like that. They don't know what they can give away because it's an illegal product to give away and to advertise for.
Yeah, there's a lot of creative compliance that has to occur in some industries, and that's up to you in your industry and in creating and formulating those strategies. Another really cool real life experience that I had. Me and my girlfriend, we went to a Flames game, and we were volunteering for Salvation Army, ringing the bells at the little kettlebell things where people stop and drop change in it. And the first half of the night wasn't really going very well. We were having a good time. We dressed up kind of snazzy for the time. It was Christmas. I was in one of those wild Christmas suits, and we were catching people's eyes, but they weren't coming. They weren't coming to bring any value back to the business that we were trying to support. So I had an idea, a light bulb moment came on when I saw a little girl going by and she didn't look too happy, so I handed her a candy cane and put a giant smile on her face. And it was about 10 steps before the parent dug through their pocket, found a handful of change, handed it to that girl, and then that girl brought it back to us. And that's when I realized
hand things out.
We weren't offering any value other than just being there. And if you're just there, it's not enough. So having the little candy cane to offer somebody who needs that value at that moment, right? And now you can ascend it up the value ladder, and you can use the bucket system to figure out where people are. And if you're struggling with it, a lot of the stuff that we do, because we manage so many clients, especially in the kind of the coaching world, using CRM software or using a POS software or using like an email client to manage what level your customers are at is going to help tremendously with your outlining your sales process and improving on it. Because if you're not documenting it, you don't know the growth. This is just like working out. If you don't know what you lifted and how much you lifted, the next time you come back, you don't know if you're getting better or you're getting worse.
Right. Well, let's end this episode with the three main takeaways that I got from this episode. Right. So the first takeaway is know the people in each category first and foremost. Right. Number two is always nurture. From cold, you can nurture to warm. From warm, you can nurture to hot, right? And then the third takeaway is offer more value than what they perceive.
Yep.
Right? You always want to offer even just the nicest kindness of their heart type things. It really goes so far in a business because people don't see generosity these days.
Yeah.
Especially, well, in times of crisis, they'll see it. But I mean, in normal times, you don't really see generosity, people giving and this and that. So to be able to offer something that they haven't, that maybe they have 10,000. Yeah. Some people always have 10,000 coffees in their life, right?
Yeah. But you exceed their expectations.
But when you show up with just a coffee without asking, here's a coffee. Something so small, just little gestures go so far. So I'm going to leave it with that. Is there anything else you want to talk on?
I think that should cover it for this one.
Perfect. Episode 4 done. See you on the next one.
Thanks for coming.
You're so corny.